Yo, what is up, guys? Your boy MMA Propaholic, and I am back with another full card breakdown. And I am going to be breaking down the full card with my picks and predictions for UFC Vegas 71. Curtis Blades versus Sergey Pavlovich main event. Probably shouldn't even be a 5 round main event. It's not going to be 5 rounds. Let me just sum up last week. Down 30 cents on my track bets. Thought my read on Pudilova was exactly right. The judges didn't think it was right though. Giving Edwards that decision had to be the worst decision I've ever seen. I was actually with my boy, and yeah, I his parents were home and I spazzed. So I mean I was mad, was embarrassed, and I was even more embarrassed for those judges, and even just embarrassed for the UFC for just even having like the guts and the guys who sign judges. I don't know who they are, but man, I mean, my last 4 track bet losses on my money lines, guys, they've been Preston Parsons, Cheating Njoku, Ninja Kani. I'm pretty sure I said his last name wrong. My bad. He should have. I mean, he threw no volume in that fight. I don't even think he deserved to win that fight, but still counts as a split decision loss. And I had Michelle Waterson Gomez, who I thought won, but I mean, close fights, women's MMA. But I mean, the Pudilova fight, Pudilova is the fourth. Yeah, that fight wasn't close. Did really well. That Gomez Brazil fight doesn't go. I hit that bet at plus 136. Missed my me and Pick by Pegasus. We missed our collab parlay. Rafa Garcia went out there and just, I mean, beat the shit out of Clay Guida. But yeah, Edison Barboza turned into vintage Barboza, and he got one hell of a knockout. I mean, I was just shocked. I was completely shocked that Billy Q fell for the bait, and yeah, that 46% striking defense, man, it got exposed. And congrats to the people at Barboza by KO. That was sounds like plus 440. So yeah, that's a great hit there. I'm going on my bet MMA tips now. I just want to see the wins and losses I had, and then we're going to get into the video. I lost Bozer by KO for 0.40 units at plus 310. I lost Mirzakhanov by KO at plus 320 for 0.32 units. He had a really good shot. That parlay I just said, we lost for 1.02 units at minus 127. The fight didn't start round 2, but Garcia won. The Brazil and Gomez fight doesn't go. That was a great fight. Bruno Brazil really needs to work on her head movement and her striking defense. The under 2.5 in the Nicolau Brandon Royval fight. I mean, holy shit, man. Credits to Royval. I mean, Royval went out there, landed a nasty knee, and just followed the combination. The Pudilova lost for 1 unit. And yeah, Zellhuber cashed at minus 120 for 0.70 units. I put 0.84 units on him. He looked great, man. He said exactly what I was gonna. He did exactly what I said he was gonna do. He just fought very relaxed. Venata brought the fight to him, and it made Zellhuber fight. And Zellhuber looked fucking great, man. He learned a lot in that last fight, so I was impressed with him. But yeah, guys, down 30 cents. So I'm down on my last 2 cards. I went down 0.82 units on at what was that last card prior to that? I keep scrolling past UFC Miami, UFC 287, and down 30 cents last week. So yeah, guys, gotta have a bounce back week. Only down 0.82 units in the last 2 weeks, but I mean, I hate being down units. So yeah, let's get into this card and let's break it down. Let's get some bets. I already have 7 bets, so this should be intriguing. And I already have a bet on the first fight that I'm about to break down. So it's going to be Danaa Backrell versus Brady Heastan. We got Brady Heastan, who is 23, and Backrell, who is 33 years old. Heastan is 5'8" with a 71-inch reach, and Backrell is 5'7" with a 70-inch reach. Both fight out of the orthodox stance, and Backrell fighting in Fight Ready. I'll get into that very shortly. And we got Brady Heastan at Siki Jiu-Jitsu. Pretty sure that's how you say it. I could be possibly wrong. But he's training with Chiesa and the guys there. So, yeah, we got Backrell, who has 8 more professional fights. He has 4 more UFC fights. And I really like what I see out of Backrell, man. I mean, coming in, starching Guido Canetti. Really nothing. The power of this guy, his lead right hand is ridiculous. He throws it very straight. He throws in massive, powerful combinations. And he's physically tough, man. I mean, you look at this guy and the muscle that he has on for 135. looks like he's in great shape almost every single fight. So I really like that to see he doesn't really have any bad weight cuts. And he starts Kevin the Toppy Dodd. I mean, that Kevin the Toppy Dodd, Brandon Davis. His wins aren't really impressive on the resume schedule, but I mean, 3 first-round finishes in the UFC, that's impressive. And then I go to the Gutierrez fight. He's winning the first round, but what was Gutierrez do? He was chopping the leg, and he had a huge success, as he always does, chopping the leg, besides his last fight against Munoz. But looked good in that fight up until Backrell just kind of started to back up. He was throwing the one-punch power shots because he was coming off 3 first-round knockouts. And I'm pretty sure this was when he was still training in, I think he might have been training in Thailand. But he was training there for his last fight against Kung Ho Kong, and he looked good in that fight, man. Even in the third round, he didn't look bad, and he looked tired, but he was still punching, man. He didn't look like he was that fatigued, but you could tell. I mean, with the power and the pop of his punches were slowing down. The announcers weren't really saying it, but you could tell he was slowing down. But it was 29-28 decision, and Kung Ho Kong would absolutely beat the shit and pick apart Brady Heastand. I mean, I really like Backrell now training at Fight Ready. He's training with, there's pictures of him training with Henry Cejudo and Demetrius Johnson, which I just love to see. I mean, they're killers at Fight Ready MMA and huge grapplers, good wrestlers. And I really love how Backrell is able to really realize that in his game and move out of where he was comfortable in his camp and just move to the U.S. and go to Fight Ready. That's probably one of the best camps, I think, for the UFC. It's one of my favorite camps when I'm capping fighters. Then we got Brady Heastand. A very good grappler, but it's like, I can't even really say that because it's like his wins professionally, guys, besides the Chad Ellinger fight, every single fighter that he beat doesn't even have a win professionally going up to the UFC Fight House. And the Ultimate Fighter, I don't really rule in his fights. I mean, that's a house. And you're getting like 2 weeks notice. It's really, you're not in there with a training camp. I mean, I don't really count that. And the Ricky Tercios fight, man. I mean, Brady Heastand's striking defense is fucking awful. It's at 43%. He's very hittable, and Tercios, who doesn't even have power, was hitting him a lot and was really hurting him. Yes, he has volume. He does that bullshit where he screams and thinks it's intimidating, which it's just absolutely not whatsoever. I don't know why he does that. Maybe he thinks he's funny, but I don't really like it at all. And go to the Fernie Garcia fight. I am so low, guys, on Fernie Garcia. Beyond low. I'm so low on the guy. And what did he do? He knocked him down in the first 13 seconds with the first combination. Fernie Garcia's only knockout wins against Joshua Weems, who looks like Ninja from Fortnite. He's terrible. Joshua Weems sucks. So that just doesn't even impress me either. And yeah, he does keep a grappling heavy pace. He pushes the wrestling very well. He's in your face, but it's like Dana is now training with the proper fighters for this camp. And he's been at Fight Ready since October, guys. So he has been there for months leading up to this fight. And I'm pretty sure he's had an 8-week training camp for this fight, which I just think is going to really play a big part here. So I played Dana Backrell for 1 unit. I bet him at minus 129. I thought it was a very buy low spot. Like, he's been at Fight Ready for the past 8 months, working with Suito, working with Johnson. And Dana throws 11 more significant strikes per minute. He throws more straight with tons of power. He's been working heavy on his conditioning in this camp. And Brady Heastand has been knocked down twice in the UFC with a 43% striking defense. And he's only had success taking down Ricky Tercios, who wants to play jiu-jitsu off his back and throw up arm bars. And he's only taking down Fernie Garcia, who's a straight boxer and just absolutely can't defend a takedown to save his shit. I was getting taken down by lower regional competition. So, yeah, and Brady Heastand's not even working on his striking, too. Like, we've seen Chiesa, and his striking just doesn't even look good at this point in his career. The guy averages like 3.5 significant strikes per minute. So, like, Brady Heastand, if he's to win this fight, he needs to be in control time, because if he's not in control time, he's getting knocked out. Dana Backrell is going to send his head into the front row, and we're going to start off the night with a cash. I'm really confident in Backrell in his spot. I got him minus 129. He is minus 155 now. If you're going to play Dana, I would just play his KO at plus 200. Maybe even just play round 1 KO. is this fight, it's giving me Chase Hooper versus Steve Garcia vibes. It's really giving me that type of vibe. I'm not comparing Brady Heastan's striking to Chase Hooper's, but their striking defense is very comparable. They don't move their head and they just get straight hit in the line center. So, yeah, give me Denard background. Give me by round 1 KO. I think he's going to start Brady Heastan, honestly. I like Brady Heastan, but I honestly don't really think he's ready. I think this is a step up for him, and the line is indicating that as if Denard's kind of just 10 years younger. He's not a wrestler. We haven't really seen him wrestle. And when we have, he got taken down, but he's getting taken down 4 years ago, and that's when he wasn't even at fight ready. So, yeah, give me Denard here and give me him at minus 129. I bet him for a unit. Let's move on to the next fight. We got, yes. Woo! Oh, we got some fun here, man. Priscilla Cachoeira versus Karina Silva. We got Cachoeira, who is 5'7" with a 65-inch reach, and Silva, who is 5'5" with a 67-inch reach. Both fight out of the orthodox stance. Cachoeira training at Team Figueiredo, and we got Silva, who's training at Gilly Ribeiro team. And Silva, who actually is shocking when I looked at this, has 3 more professional fights, but it's Cachoeira with 7 more UFC fights than Silva. Yeah, guys. First thing that stuck out to me on the tape, I mean, obviously, when I'm betting a Priscilla Cachoeira fight, is violence. And yeah, I'm at work, I'm on my break, I'm chilling, and I go on Best Fight Odds. I love Best Fight Odds, and I see minus 115. I'm spamming my account. I'm trying to log in. I forget my password. I'm all pissed off. I'm bashing my fucking driving wheel. I'm screaming in my car. I look like a madman. My boss is right next to me. Or he's looking at me like I'm crazy, but I don't think he understands that I'm getting a Priscilla Cachoeira under 2.5 at minus 115 and going to put the bet in, going to put 115 on it, and line moved to minus 144 and screamed. I was like, okay, still like it at minus 144. I'm going to bet it for, I think I bet it for, let me check them. I got my bet MMA tips tab right here. Because I have so many bets, I honestly forget the units I throw sometimes. I only have, yeah, I bet 1 unit on it. Just like it's women's MMA, but honestly, guys, these are the 2 most violent women in the flyweight division, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, these 2 are trying to take off each other's head. Karina Silva in her Contender Series fight kind of was getting wrestled, and it was up to the point where, I mean, her opponent was just beating the crap out of her, and we haven't really seen Karina Silva tested out of the first round. And when she pulled the guillotine there in that Contender Series, she looked death gas and was hysterically crying after that. She has pop, man. She throws heavy hands. And what do we know about Priscilla Cachoeira? I mean, her striking defense is just pure shit, man. It's awful. I mean, pretty sure it is, yeah, sitting at 46%. And look at Karina Silva's. Karina Silva's is 26% from her last fight, which is just god awful. Because Priscilla Cachoeira beating, throwing 11 significant strikes per minute. She's gonna walk forward. She's gonna throw. I mean, her nickname is Zombie Girl for a reason. And guys, she's won 4 of her last 5 fights, which is really shocking to me. She's 34, training at MMA Masters. I mean, she's like, she could be live here if Silva death gasses, but I don't even see Silva. I think Silva's KO prop is one of the more intriguing props because I think everyone's just really thinking she's gonna sub her. I mean, I had the under 2.5. I hope she gets this fight to the ground, and I hope she pursues the grappling because she just has a huge edge on Priscilla Cachoeira there. And both of these ladies struggle where they both can lose in the fight, which is Karina Silva on the feet. I mean, she's very hittable as well, as I just said. And Priscilla has been getting hurt. She got hurt against Kim really bad in the 3rd round. It just was not a good look. Kim has no pop in her punches. She's on a 5-fight losing streak, and she hurt her bad. Yeah, I love the under here. I really don't see this fight going to decision, but if it does, man, I think Cachoeira can really steal a split decision if this goes to decision, but I think this fight can end very early. I think it can end in the middle of the 2nd round. But man, I mean, Karina Silva can hit, man. Everything she just loads up, and I'm pretty sure her KO prop right now is sitting at Let me see. I think people put money on it, man. Wow. I don't know. Wow, money's came up on it. Plus 900 on Bet Online. That's a very intriguing line. Guys, if I get plus 1,000 or better, I'm more than likely gonna sprinkle that KO. I mean, she should definitely get this fight to the ground, but Silva has 7 knockouts and 8 subs. Like, she has pop, man, and especially with a girl like Cachoeira who could just get hit and has been getting stunned and has just, I mean, years of damage on her face. I mean, holy shit, man. She should have like fucking war wounds on her face, like she fought in the Vietnam War, man. I mean, my God. I feel like if you just go up to Cachoeira and you just scratch her face with your fingernail, she's probably bleeding. So yeah, violence is the answer here. I got it at minus 144. Under 2.5 right now. Oh my, minus 185. I would stay away, and the fight doesn't go minus 215. It's like, if you guys really think the fight's gonna end, parlay it. But I don't really recommend parlaying a women's MMA fight. Fight doesn't go at minus 215. Probably would just stay off that. But let's move on to the next fight. We got Francis Marshall versus William Gomez. We got Marshall, who is let's see. Marshall is 24 years old, and we got Gomez, who is 25. Gomez is 6 foot with a 73-inch reach, as Marshall is 5'9" with a 72-inch reach. We got Marshall training out of Pellegrino MMA, and Gomez training out of MMA Factory. And Gomez has 3 more professional fights. Oh no, my bad. Oh my God, I can't do math for shit. He's got 6 more professional fights, and both have the same amount of UFC experience. Very wide line. When I taped this fight, Francis Marshall was minus 170, and I was really gonna pull the trigger because I just like Gomez is just really unanswered questions. He's had too much success with his wrestling against people on short notice, which I think that builds up a confidence of just too high for you in order to keep going to the ground. He's training at MMA Factory, which I like, but I mean, gonna pull up his Tapology now, guys, and I'm gonna sum it up. His fight against Arip Yabakov, who was from Russia, flew down. I forgot where they were, but flew all the way from Russia. Probably had flight delay and everything. He didn't even have a training camp. Came in there, fought Gomez on short notice, and everyone was like, "Wow, Gomez took down the Russian. It's so impressive." This Russian dude looked gassed in the matter of 2 minutes. Didn't look like he wanted to be there. And when you put the camera on the coach, this is the coach. 2 minutes into the fight in the first round, I have never seen a coach, like, the coach looked exhausted and the fighter just looked even more exhausted. And then in the Arip Yabakov fight, it's like, yeah, oh no, wrong fight. That's the fight I just summed up. When the Jose Marcos fight, Jose Marcos, they were saying, who just struggles with ground game, can't stop takedowns, doesn't mind being off his back, but doesn't even have high jiu-jitsu. They were saying how the guy just likes to sit there and guard and throw elbows on his back, and that's what he was doing. And the way that Gomez got the finish, he was not even looking, wasn't even looking at the guy, and he's just punching him. This is him. Not even looking, wasn't looking at all, and he's just waiting for the ref to stop it. The ref stops the fight, but it's like he didn't even look like he gave a shit at all. And those 2 fights, and that got him to the UFC level, guys, which it alarmed me when I saw him in his debut. I didn't bet the fight, but I mean, Jarno Ernest, who I don't even think is that high level either. This guy was really only fighting in the France regional in his film. So it's like, I think Francis Marshall is a very good fighter. I think people are. I see a lot of announcers comparing Gomez to the fight style of Leon Edwards. I mean, I mean, I could understand. He's long. He throws a lot of kicks. He really extends his jab out. He likes to kind of skirt the outside. He likes to get his technical outside leg kicks, and then he'll like to shoot a double leg, get you up against the fence, and then he'll want to try to control you on top and cage push you. But Francis Marshall's tough, man. Francis Marshall's training with grapplers. Look, he really impressed me in that Connor Matthews fight, man. He beat the shit out of Connor Matthews. And Connor Matthews is durable as hell. I don't really think Gomez can eat the shots that he was eating in that fight. And then in the Rojo fight, he impressed me, man. Kid's 23, goes out there and starches Rojo, man. And Rojo is not a bad fighter. Very experienced. Has fought high level competition. That was his first fight. So the UFC really knows, like, this kid's got a lot of talent. Heavy with his hands. He'll stand right in front of your face. He's pretty tough. Doesn't really have the best striking defense at all. So I could see the head kick sneaking in through for Gomez. But the line that stuck out to me in this fight was the over 2.5. It stuck out early. It was plus. I could have betted it plus 115, and then it was plus 100, and then I was working for about like 2.5 hours. I go back, and then the line just got steamed to minus 150. And I don't really like to play over 2.5 at minus 150, especially if it's in the Apex Center, and especially with a guy in Marshall who's going to be in your face the whole time, try to push a grapple heavy pace, and try to use the boxing because he needs to use the boxing here to close the distance. I think Marshall's KO prop is very live here. Pretty sure it's plus 600 right now in a book. I just Gomez hasn't really dealt with pressure, and even in the Ernest fight, like he was just getting these takedowns way too easy, man. And I mean, I'm pretty sure Marshall was a black belt, and guys, Gomez had himself in. I'm pretty sure that was was it a triangle with like 20 seconds left in the fight, and then he just escaped it. So he put himself in a bad spot, and I just don't really like that. The line, I can see why people are taking the dog shot. The line on Marshall is, I think it's wide. I think minus 220 is just very wide. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Francis Marshall. I'm gonna go with Francis Marshall by decision, though. I think this fight might go the full 15, but I think maybe Marshall by KO decision. I feel like that might be an intriguing line once I get access to that. I might see what that's at. If I get plus money, I might put half a unit on it. But yeah, let's move on from this fight. I feel like I talked about it enough. Now we got Junior Tafa versus Muhammad Usman. We got Muhammad Usman, who's 6'2". He's 34 years old with a 79-inch reach. Now we got Junior Tafa, who is 6'3". They don't even have his reach on Tapology, so I can't even see it. He's 26 years old, so he's 8 years younger. And we know Junior Tafa just started his professional MMA career. And Muhammad Usman with 10 fights. Yeah, I don't rate Muhammad Usman high at all. I honestly think he's probably one of the worst heavyweights in the division, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. I don't rate this guy high. He's very flat-footed when he strikes. He has only wrestled a guy who is 2-7 and was a straight kickboxer. And I'm pretty sure that guy like retired out of MMA right after he did that. And we haven't really seen, like, even in the Fighter House. I'm not talking about the Fighter House because the Fighter House, I just like I can't take a film perspective study from a Fighter House with 2 weeks notices of fights and just put it into capping. I can't do that. So skipping that, we go to the Zach Polga fight. Polga's beating him up bad. Late start to his professional MMA career too, and especially his striking. And we just see like the holes, man. Like Muhammad's so flat, looking for that one punch knockout power, leaning in to land a huge right. I mean, the guy is there to get his leg kicked too. He is so goddamn flat footed, man. I really hate how flat footed he is, and I just think it's a nightmare for him to be flat footed here. Junior Tafa, such credentials in kickboxing. I mean, coming out of the Tafa family, we know he's so tough. I mean, he used to say when he was younger, he's got 2 other brothers, and they said how they used to just brawl in the backyard, and they would just brawl all day. So you just know this guy's tough with a bunch of grit. He's been hurt on the kickboxing scene, but it's like he's versing legitimate kickboxers who are elite strikers in the global world and in the global regional scene. And yeah, Muhammad Usman just isn't globally a good striker. He's not even a good striker in the UFC. I really still think he's here because of his brother. And his brother is now 0-2 in his last 2 fights. So honestly, like, I think this is Junior Tafa here. We can question that the way he loses this fight is if he gets taken down. But I've seen him taken down on his tape, but he is getting back up. But the one thing that they concern, I bet Junior Tafa here because I just think very low on Muhammad Usman. I really do. I bet Junior Tafa for 0.75 units at minus 115. You guys should still get a pick 'em now, so you guys can get a better line than me. I just don't like Usman, man. I feel like he's wrestler bust here. And if he doesn't get this fight to the ground, he's in trouble, man. I understand he's very heavy with his right hand, but I mean, the amount of counters that this guy could just be countered with, it's awful, man. And Junior Taffa has pop, he has power, man, and it is shown. I think the fight doesn't go at minus 320 is a terrific parlay piece. More likely we'll be parlaying it up this weekend with another fight. And even the fight doesn't start round 3 minus 175. I just think it's a terrific bet. I don't see how this fight goes over. The only way, because even if Muhammad Usman, let's say he does get him down, it's like Junior Top was a lost fucking fish down there. He has no idea what the hell he's doing. He's training with his brothers, and his brother doesn't know what he's doing on the ground either. So it's like, yeah, I just feel like violence is live all around in this fight. Don't hate people taking a shot on Usman decision. I think that's probably the way he wins. It's either a decision or he just gets the ground and pound. He's not. I don't think he gets a sub. Could sub him, but I don't really think so. But I'm gonna take Junior Taffa. I'm gonna take Junior Taffa round 1 KO. I'm pretty confident in the guy. I just think he has way better hands, way better kickboxing. I'm gonna say it again. This is a bad matchup for Usman, man. He's way too goddamn flat-footed. It's just not good. It's not a good look. He's taking time off, though, so he can come back and maybe try to bounce around the feet. But the guy's a heavyweight, man. He's not going to do that. And he brings a lot of muscle, man. A lot of muscle. So, yeah, I'm going with Taffa here. And let's move on to the next fight. We got, God, you see the excitement in my voice, the excitement in the roll of the eyes. Carol Oza versus Norman Dumont. We got Carol Oza, who is 28. Norman Dumont, who is 32. Dumont 5'7" with a 67-inch reach. And we got Oza, who is 5'5" with a 67-inch reach. I don't really her camp is Perina Val Tudo. I'm terrible at reading, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just horrific. And we got team rules for Norman Dumont. We got Osa, who has 10 more professional fights than Dumont, but it both have the same UFC level experience. Line open on Carol Osa. I think he was like minus 225, and everyone has just been steaming Norman Dumont. And I'm like, how can people have any confidence in Norman Dumont, man? I watch her film. Go watch the Aspen Ladd fight. You want to go watch? You guys want to fall asleep? You guys want to fall asleep? Get a little smoke. Close your eyes. Put on the Norman Dumont fight. Norman Dumont versus Aspen Ladd. You'll fall asleep because I mean, it was terrible. Norman Dumont was just jabbing her for 3 straight rounds. She picked it up a little bit, but I mean, my God, it was jab after jab after jab after jab. I mean, shoot a damn takedown if you're Aspen Ladd. I don't know why she wasn't doing it. And then it's like the Macy Chiasson fight. It's like, I mean, you're losing. I don't like it. Macy is a very good wrestler, though. She has very good credentials in wrestling. I see people that are like, Dumont's going to take down Osa. Like, Dumont has only taken down Danielle Wolf. Danielle Wolf is 1-0 in MMA, and she's a straight boxer. And Norman Dumont was minus 450. And Carol Osa's only been taken down by Sarah McMahon, who is an Olympian wrestler. So I don't know. I don't really understand how people are thinking that Norman Dumont's just going to win this fight in control time. That's not going to happen. This fight's going to be close. It's going to decision. It's going to be a split. You're more than likely going to get fucked out of your money like me these past 2 weeks. I have just been, man, I'm just drained on these spots. I don't want to talk about this fight. I really don't want to bet it at all either. I'm just going to pick it and move on. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to pick Carol Oza. I'm going to pick her to win this by decision, but with zero confidence whatsoever. So do not take my take. I'm going to move on. These judges lately, I don't trust them. But the one thing I will say, though, they are way better in the Apex Center than they are in Kansas City and by God, Texas. So let's move on to Montel Jackson versus Ronnie Yaha. We got Jackson, who just has a metric advantage. I mean, everywhere. He's 5'10" with a 75-inch reach, and Yaha is 5'6" with a 67-inch reach. Man, I we got Jackson who's 30 and Yaha who is 38. It's just like it's some left short. Yaha, fifth degree level black belt. I mean, this guy has 21 submissions. So if you get him on the ground, he's gonna pull guard, he's gonna hunt, he could throw up any type of submission, he could sweep you, he can get you from any position, man. And Montel Jackson, on the other hand, has 9 knockdowns in the UFC and has bigger hands than Francis Ngannou. You guys have probably heard that from every capper this week, but I'm gonna say it. This guy hits like an absolute centipede. I saw the under 2.5. It opened minus 215, and I'm like, damn it. These bookies, they're all over it. They don't want us to get violence here. I was pissed off, and to the point where I was considering parlaying it up, and then I'm on Fight Odds and just checking lines, and I see a minus 140. I think it was what? Minus 140? Yeah, minus 142 I got. I'm like, oh, man. I'm like, thank you. Thank you, Bet Online. I took that minus 142. Yeah, Jackson's going to decision. He went to decision with JP Buys, but it's like he could have finished that fight numerous times, and JP Buys still young, pretty durable. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. Kind of showed him in that fight, but I mean, we got Ronnie Yaha, who is just 38, coming on a 1.5-year layoff. The guy does not have good striking, and he is just at a metric disadvantage everywhere, man. And the guy has a 51% striking defense, which just shows me that Jackson's going to crack this man. Yaha's been hurt in his last couple of fights and against way worse strikers with way less metrics. And I think Montel Jackson should be a top 15. I think he should be fighting someone in the top 15. This fight has to be the statement for him to just get his big fight, because I don't know what the hell he's doing. This guy has it all. He could possibly be a top 10 bantamweight right now. This guy is not a joke. He's going out there and he's hurting Julio Arce. Julio Arce is durable as hell. The only guy who's knocked him out, I'm pretty sure, is Song Yadong. So it's like, yeah, man, Jackson should knock this guy out. If this goes to decision, man, if it even goes over 2.5, I'd be really shocked. And the only way it goes over 2.5 is if Montel Jackson wrestles him. And I just don't see why you would wrestle a 5th degree black belt when you have an 8-inch reach advantage and a 4-inch height advantage. So, yeah, I really see Montel Jackson coming out here and starching Ronnie Yaha. It's not a hot take. So I got the under 2.5 at minus 142. You guys can get the fight doesn't go right now. I like that. Parlay it. I think it's a lock, honestly. I think this fight ends inside the distance. I think the only way it goes to decision is if Montel Jackson decides to just wrestle and sit on top of Ronnie Yaha without doing no damage, which I just don't see him doing that with a 5th degree black belt. I just see that being the dumbest path to victory. And if he takes that and you have a minus 600 ticket, it's just not something you ever want to do parlay minus 600 on a fighter. I don't recommend it to anyone, and I personally will never do it. But yeah, I'm picking Jackson to win this fight inside the distance, and I'm picking violence. So the under 2.5 is my bet here, and I bet it for my biggest bet on the card so far. It's 1.110 units I got on this. So I'm pretty confident. I'm really confident in this spot. I was really considering doubling down, but the line got away, man. I think people realize, man, this fight, Montel Jackson should really start tonight. DraftKings is giving Montel Jackson round 1 KO plus 165. It's like, what do you guys bet online? Come on. We got Ricky Glenn versus Christos Gagos. And we got Ricky Glenn, who is 6 foot with a 70-inch reach. And we got Gagos, who is 5'10 with a 71-inch reach. Gagos training out of Black House MMA. And then Ricky Glenn training out of Team Alpha Male. Yeah, guys, honestly, this is probably my least interesting fight as a fan on the card. I'm really I like Christos Gagos. I'm not going to lie. I don't like betting him, though. I don't really like betting his fights because he's kind of, to me, like a 1-800 gambler fighter. Going out there, losing to Charles Oliveira, no absolute shame. Arman Shizukian, no shame. Moises, no shame. Jakar Close, no shame, but it's like the guys he's beaten They're really not high level. Like Sean Soriano, Death Gasser, shot a takedown, tired. He got Darce. Carlton Minus is like, I don't even think he's in the UFC anymore. So it's like, and then I go to Ricky Glenn. It's like Ricky Glenn knocked out Joaquin Silva in round one, which I was just a little bit stunned. Losing to Kevin Aguilar is really not a good look. I don't think at all. And I mean, you just in a draw with Grant Dawson, that was a really close fight as well. But he hasn't fought in about a year and a half, so it's like really capping this fight. I don't have a bet. I honestly lean Ricky Glenn, but with not a lot of confidence. Probably the same confidence I have in the Carol Hossa fight. Like Ricky Glenn is 4 of 29 on his takedowns, which is just terrible. He's getting out controlled by 6%. And Gagos is facing killers, man. So I saw people jumping this line at plus 180. And credits, a lot of sharp cappers jumped that line. I just didn't get to the film. I really had no interest in this fight when I saw it. This is actually the last fight that I actually ran film for on this card. So, yeah, I'm not going to honestly have a bet on this fight. But I'm going to pick Ricky Glenn to win by decision. But I wouldn't be shocked if the underdog pulled off the victory here and cashed some plus money tickets. But let's move on. Now this is a fight I'm really looking forward to. Man, we beat some line movement here, guys. We got Matthew Semelsberger versus Jeremiah Wells. We got Jeremiah Wells, who is 36 years old with he's 5'9" with a 74-inch reach. And we got Semelsberger, who is 6'1" with a 75-inch reach. And we got Semelsberger training at a Clinch Academy and Jeremiah Wells training at a Renzo Gracie Philly. And both have the same amount of professional fights. It's Matthew Semelsberger who has four more UFC fights. So I jumped on Semelsberger for half a unit at plus 120 on William Hill. The line has closed on William Hill now. It's currently pick'em. It's minus 110. I really like this line that I got on Semelsberger, and I even like him at this price. I understand like Jeremiah Wells knocking out Warrior Alves in your debut, pretty impressive and on short notice. But I mean, this guy is throwing everything from the hip. Every punch is with the power intentions to kill you and knock your head off. Choking out Blood Diamond doesn't impress me because Blood Diamond just has a really shit ground game and he's 34 and it's just like not looking good for Blood Diamond. And I'm pretty sure he might have given Izzy a little something to get into the UFC. Just saying. And then Court McGee, it's like it's very impressive to knock out a Court McGee who has only been knocked out once in his career and never been flushly knocked out. But it's like Court McGee up to that fight was what? He's just versing straight grapplers. Wasn't versing any strikers who have pop in their hands besides Claudio Silva, who doesn't even have the most pop in his hands. So it's like Matthew Semelsberger has been facing guys with pop. He's been facing the younger competition. He's been facing the more I would say complete competition than Jeremiah Wells. Semelsberger's got 7 knockdowns in the UFC, guys. 7. He's 7 knockdowns in the UFC. And it's just sensational what you see of this guy. Jeremiah Wells is only 1 of 8 on his takedowns. I mean, getting down Blood Diamond, it's the only person he's got down. Atrocious ground game, not impressive to me. Guy is a very high-level black belt, though, training with some serious premier grapplers. Semelsberger has actually never been knocked down in the UFC, guys. He's going to have the better cardio here. He's getting better and better with every single fight. You could just tell he's improving. Like, he was getting taken down on his regional scene, getting taken down against AJ Fletcher, but it's improving, man. He said it in post interviews. He's like, I think it was the fight that he fought against Jake Matthews. Like, yeah, he's like, I'm really like happy for myself. I'm I'm proud of myself. I'm getting better and better in MMA. I train new stuff every day. He's like, I've been working on the takedown defense. I'm getting better and better. He's like, I'm still young, and that he is. Semelsberger is 30 years old, and he's 7 fights in the UFC, so he's been here for a minute. And AJ Fletcher gave him a look for 15 minutes that Semelsberger prepared up for that fight. And the way that Fletcher fights is the way that Well fights, but Well fights with way more power and way less, and I think less cardio than AJ Fletcher. Um, Jeremiah Wells has only been hit 19 times in the UFC, and 28 strikes have been thrown at him. So that's 19 of 28 significant strikes landing on him. He's gonna feel the power early. It's gonna be very hard for Wells to close the distance here. And Matthew, I mean, oh my man, I mean, Semmelsberger does a great job cutting the cage and using his power as well. And I just also really like how when Semmelsberger's losing his fights, he's losing to technical strikers who have a very good jab and tend to throw the jab out there so they can tend to try to get takedowns and throw more technical strikes. Like Jeremiah Wells is just the last thing from technical whatsoever. So the plus money on Semmelsberger, it stuck out instantly. This is the first fight I take because I saw the line and was just shocked. Um, so yeah, I tried it a little lightly. I bet Semmelsberger for half a unit. The line has closed, and I'm very glad it is closed, as it should close. And I really love violence here a lot. This might be, I might parlay, guys, this violence with the Muhammad Usman and Junior Tafa fight doesn't go to decision. I think it comes out to plus money. I really like that violence parlay this weekend. It's been a parlay that I've been eyeing. Just right now, I don't even know if Bet Rivers has the props because I'm recording, but let's move on to the next fight. So I'm picking Semmelsberger, and I'll pick Semmelsberger round 2 KO. I think he could try to avoid the big power shots. It's going to be very sweating early because Jeremiah Wells, man. I mean, this guy's power is different. It's scary with how much intensity and how much pop and how far he just winds up these shots. Like, the last thing I'm going to say about this fight, guys. He threw a 4-strike combination against Court McGee, missed the first 3 punches, and one of them landed. Knocked him out flushly. So it could happen here to Semmelsberger, but I just don't think it does. I think Semmelsberger is so damn tough, man. He's shown it on numerous occasions. So yeah, give me Semmelsberger money line and give me Semmelsberger by KO round 2. I think he gets it done in the second job and survives the adversity in round 1. But let's move on. We got Borgen Walker versus Asmin Lucidino. We got a Lucidino who is 5'3", very small, 66-inch reach, and Walker who is 5'4" with a 67-inch reach. Walker fights switch as Lucidino fights orthodox, and we got Borgen Walker training at Elite Muay Thai, and we got Lucidino training at a Fight House MMA. Lucidino has 8 more professional fights. With a 5-year pro career, and Borgen Walker has 10 fights with an 8-year pro career. Women's MMA line minus 360. I'm staying far away from this. I want nothing to do with it. I honestly think the under might be a live bet here, though I've been eyeing it. Just because Borgen Walker very, very hittable. I mean, Juliana Miller. If Juliana Miller can make her striking look good, it's really concerning to me that Juliana Miller can look good on the feet, how she looked in her last fight against Borgen Walker. Because Lucidino is tough, man. She throws with a lot of pop, and she has 6 decision wins. Oh no, I'm looking at Walker. My bad. Lucidino has 8 wins by KO. She's been submitted 3 times, which I honestly don't really see her getting submitted against Borgen Walker. It really Borgen Walker didn't even shoot a takedown against Juliana Miller, which shocked me a little bit too, because she was doing it in her Invicta fights. I damn well know she's gonna do it here. I mean, it has to be a clear path to try to do that. Facing Erin Blanchfield and Invicta, probably the future champ, I think, won me such a good amount of money. I love Erin Blanchfield. Beat Miranda Maverick. It's like you look at Borgen Walker's resume, it's like she's faced some very good UFC level competition in Maverick and Blanchfield, but just looked atrocious. She looked atrocious against Juliana Miller. Looked terrible. That was the first card that I capped, that I tracked on BetMMA. I had a unit on Borgen Walker, and my God, did I look stupid. I look stupid. And I can't do it here, but she was training for a striker in Na Leon. So she was training for intensity. She was training for someone to come at her like a wild girl in round one. And yeah, it wouldn't really shock me if she went to the takedown route here. And Lucidino taking down the regional scenes, choked out 3 times in her career. It really could happen here. And Morgan Walker is what? Plus, I think she is plus 280 right now. It is a wide line, man. I wonder what they got Walker by decision. What Bet Online, typical Bet Online. They have the money line plus 280 and have Walker by decision at plus 300. I mean, come on, Bet Online. Come on, you guys gotta realize that. Come on. Bet Online not the best with prop guys. But yeah, I see money has came in on violence too, which they opened the under 2.5 at plus 275. That got steamed in about 20 minutes. And then it was plus 220, and now it's plus 205. Not gonna bet an under here. Lucidino by KO could be extremely live because she has a lot of pops. She has 8 of her wins by KO, and it's just very live here. And she has 3 wins by decision, but guys, she's 21. She's 21 years old. She's still a kid. So it's like to lay minus. We saw what happened when you guys can go lay minus 300 on a kid, and Raul Rosas proved that he just has a lot to improve on, and so does Lucidino. She has a good amount to improve on with her ground game, but this is going to answer the question here, man. I think this is a really good fight. As a fan, I'm very excited to watch this fight because Lucidino put on a hell of a performance in her last fight. I was really impressed, and that opened a pay-per-view too. Pretty sure that was that at Elevation? No, it was a fight night. Oh wow. It was in front of a crowd though. I don't remember, but yeah, I'm gonna pick Lucidino to obviously win this fight. She's minus 400. I just don't really recommend anyone going out there and laying minus 350. I would just stay away, drink a beer, or just bet Lucidino by KO. The thing I might be betting is Morgan Walker / decision Lucidino by KO. I'm gonna look to see what that bet's at. I can't track that on my Bet MMA tips, but it's something I'm keeping my eye very heavy on because I think if Morgan Walker wins, I think it's a decision. Her just wrestling. I just think she's gonna get popped in the feet. Her 36% striking defense is just awful, and especially against Juliana Miller, it was just a straight grappler. It's very concerning. So let's move on to really hyped for this fight. No bet here yet, though. Probably won't have a bet. I'm very hyped to watch this fight. We got Bobby Green versus Jared Gordon. We got Bobby Green, who is 36 years old, 5'10", with a 71-inch reach. And we got Jared Gordon, who is 5'9", with a 68-inch reach. Got Bobby Green, who has 44 professional fights, with Gordon's 25. Gordon has 12 UFC fights. Green has 20. And it's Green who is more a high volume than Jared Gordon. And oh man, Jared Gordon against Penland. Only bet that I lost on the whole entire card of that pay-per-view was a live bet. A live bet on Jared Gordon at, I think I got Jared Gordon live at like plus 150. After the fight, I'm down in my beers. I'm so happy. I'm like, all right, we hit every single bet on this whole entire card. I'm like, my friend, let's get fucked up. I'm like, let's go. So hyped. I'm posting videos of me on Twitter going absolutely crazy. And what happens? They come back with the scorecards, and it was like, Judge Camito scores the contest. I'm like, oh no, they ain't gonna do this, are they? Completely robbed my boy Jared Gordon, man. I feel bad for Jared Gordon, but I look at this and this fight, Bobby Green has been facing way better strikers. They've been giving Bobby Green strikers as they've been kind of giving Jared Gordon grapplers. So I think the UFC has been treating Bobby well to his fight style, and they really have not been treating Jared Gordon well for his fight style. Jared Gordon is 19-6, though. Bobby Green's 29-14. We've seen Bobby Green's last 5 fights, and it's Fiziev, which he just looked great. Probably, in my mind, stole round 3. First time I ever, this is when I first started betting MMA. Me and my boy, I never will ever lay it on a striker ever again. I was casual, but I laid minus 370 on Fiziev. And me and my boy, we were shitting our pants, man. We were shitting our pants. I had no idea who Bobby Green was at the time because I was brand new into MMA, but I mean, now I know who he is, man. He's awesome, man. He went out there and starched my boy from Long Island, the real estate agent, Ali Aquina. Doesn't really impress me. Ali Aquina is just not really about fighting anymore. Looked great in the Haparas fight. He looked terrific. Makhachev, you can't really say anything about that. It was on 2 weeks' notice. He just said, fuck it, give me a paycheck. I'll come in and get my money and I'll go home and make weight. And then the Drew Dober fight, I had Green decision only. Loving my bet. I gave it pick 'em when I got it. But then it's Drew Dober. Drew Dober's chin is elite. He was walking down Drew Dober. Actually, he was kind of hurting Drew Dober a little bit. And then he just got knocked out by a huge left hook. And prior to that, we saw Bobby Green knocked out against Dustin Poirier 7 years ago. So that was just shocking. But man, minus 260 on Bobby Green. I just no. I'll be a fan. I'll watch the fight as a fan. I will never bet Bobby Green at minus 260 regarding of what his price tag has always been at. For almost every fight, you look at Bobby Green as an underdog. Besides Ali Aquina, he's an underdog in every single fight. It's concerning. And he's minus 260 here. And Jared Gordon, yeah, he lost to Patty Pimlet. Bullshit. He won the fight. Jared Gordon won that fight. Can we just say Jared Gordon won the fight? I can't keep lying and saying that he didn't win the fight. Jared Gordon, guys, the typology has 11-1 in decisions because he lost to Pimlet. Basically, is 12-0 in decisions. The over 2.5 is minus 250. Why bet Bobby Green at minus 260 when Jared Gordon is 12-0 by decisions? And then Jared Gordon's been knocked out 4 times. Could Bobby Green knock out Jared Gordon? Yeah, but Bobby Green doesn't have a lot of power. He just doesn't. And the last time that Jared Gordon got knocked out was Charles Oliveira, whose power is just, we know Charles Oliveira's power. Got knocked out by Joaquin Silva a year prior to that in the 3rd round. Then got knocked out by Diego Ferreira. And that was in a back-to-back fight span of course, 8 months where he got knocked out by Silva and Ferreira. Then he goes and faces Fishgold. He doesn't really have a lot of power. Danny Chavez just throws tons of leg kicks at range. Doesn't have a lot of power. Joe Selecki, primarily a grappler, doesn't have a lot of power on the feet. Grant Dawson, primarily a grappler, was just taking him down. And Leonardo Santos, who doesn't really, comes out death or be gassed. He'll come out round 1, but didn't even really do it in that fight. And then it's just, I had violence in that fight, and I was just pissed off. And Jared Gordon didn't really look good in that fight either, but that was at elevation. He looked way better against Pimlet, but could a knockout happen here for Bobby Green? It could, because the last 5 guys don't have a lot of pop, and they're not primarily strikers, and they don't make the reads as Bobby Green and have the experience of Bobby Green on the feet. So, I'm looking, man, Bobby Green by 3rd round KO, they're all over it, man. It was 1,600. I really wish we were getting a bigger number because I really think we should be getting a bigger number. Even round 2 is plus 1,000 on DraftKings. I'm waiting for Bet Rivers because that's how I am betting this fight. That's how I'm betting Bobby Green. But Jared Gordon by decision is something that could be bet, but I'm just not doing it because of these judges recently. But it's not a bad look. I think that's the way he wins. I would be shocked if he knocked out Bobby Green. I would be kind of shocked if he took down Bobby Green because Bobby Green is an elite get-up game, has a great takedown defense game as well. So, yeah, I'm looking at this fight as if I'm going to bet Green's late KO props instead of laying minus 260 on him and just having to deal with the fact that he's not a minus 260 fighter and he fights very close. And I'd rather we'll get a plus 1,000 price tag on him in round 2 and a plus 1,800 on, probably plus 1,600 on him in round 3. Just because I just think that's when he can finish the fight. And Jared Gordon's only time being finished in round 1 was against Charles Oliveira and Joaquin Silva, who just hit harder than Bobby Green. Bobby Green's more of a volume build-up fighter who likes to hit you on a spot and then keep going to it. And then he'll realize the read of when you're fading away, and then he'll go for that finish. I think he can get it here. but he might have maybe some little PTSD after getting knocked out by Drew Dober really badly. So, yeah, give me Green's late KO props, but I think Green can get it done by decision, but with not a lot of confidence about Green winning by decision. But I think it's more in the second round or third round. But let's move on to co-main event. We got Brad Tavares versus Bruno Silva. We got Bruno Silva, who is 6 foot with a 74-inch reach, as Tavares is 6'1" with a 74-inch reach. Silva, who has 4 more professional fights than Tavares. Tavares has been in the UFC, forever. Since like 2013. He's an OG, 16 fights in the UFC. The answer for Tavares should be here to go to the wrestling. Offensively, he just does not do that. I have not seen him do it in his last 5 fights. When he did it, he tried doing it against Izzy. It just didn't work out. And going 1-12 on your takedowns, that takes a lot of confidence out of your game, especially when you're facing primarily defensive wrestlers in your last 3 fights, which I don't really like for Tavares coming into this fight at all. Because Duplessis went out there and tried to wrestle him for a whole first round and cast himself like an idiot. He gassed himself like an idiot. And what do we know about Duplessis now? This is 8%. I can't really sum it up, but he didn't have his full cardio. He's never had his full cardio in his career after the surgery that he just got. And Omari, probably one of the Tavares knocked him down, and Omari knocked Tavares down bad with a left hand in that fight. Even in the Antonio Carlos Jr. fight, we saw just the defensive wrestling of Brad Tavares. It's wonderful, man. It's beautiful, but when he's on the feet, he's losing. He's not high volume. He throws 7 significant strikes per minute. He's more waiting for you to make a mistake, and then he'll get his opportunity. He's a very opportunistic finisher on the feet, and I think that's very good against Bruno Silva, but at the same time, it's not at all, because Bruno Silva is trying to walk you down. He's trying to take your head off, and he has power, man. He has pop. He went to decision with Alex Pereira, but guys, this is what I'm going to say. It might be a little bit of a hot take, but Alex Pereira fell in love with the kickboxing fight that Bruno Silva was giving him, and he respects Bruno Silva's power. I'm pretty sure going into that fight, Alex Pereira wanted to extend himself as well. So I feel like that might have been a huge reason. Pereira was hitting him with some pretty big shots, but he didn't really start unloading until like the 3rd round, where Bruno Silva was tired, but he kept coming forward. But I don't think Alex Pereira is the guy like Brad Tavares to make all these reads on the feet as the fight's going, as if Pereira needs to be told in there, especially when it's in close range in a boxing fight, because Pereira likes to be a kickboxing range and just close in with his hands and throw a fury of hooks. I really feel like it's more of Brad Tavares. He's very high IQ'd in there. He definitely has more fight IQ than Bruno Silva. I just don't think he's going to wrestle here. He could. Do not get me wrong. Every person who has faced Bruno Silva so far has tried wrestling, and they have had success. But Bruno Silva now, you go look at Bruno Silva now, he looks like he is in the best shape of his life. He looked like he was fucking drunk against Mearshart. I had a bet on Bruno Silva by KO at -130, and oh my, how stupid did I look when Mearshart knocked him down in round 3. I felt like that was a thing with the elevation in San Diego as well. So I felt like that had to do something a little with it. But man, getting knocked down by Mearshart, it is very alarming. I think Brad Tavares has a lot of pop with his right hand, man. I think he's a terrific counter striker. I really think I think the durability of Brad Tavares is a thing in this fight that is going to tell a lot of answers, especially him being a favorite. I don't want to bet Bruno Silva, but I think he wins this fight. I think Bruno Silva knocks out Brad Tavares, but I would not be shocked if Brad Tavares knocked out Bruno Silva. It wouldn't shock me at all, because I think a lot of people are just looking past this Alex Pereira fight. It was a kickboxing fight, guys. It was a kickboxing fight in a UFC octagon. It was a kickboxing fight. The whole fight was a kickboxing fight up until the very 3rd round when those guys started unleashing, but they were both tired. Both power was kind of lost in their hands. And because Bruno Silva had to wrestle Pereira. Bruno Silva has never wrestled in his career. Never has wrestled up until that point, and he probably never will again. He never will again. If he tries to wrestle Brad Tavares, it's not going to work. Brad Tavares will stop every takedown. But I think if this fight's on the feet for 15 minutes, I think someone's getting knocked out. I think someone is getting flushly knocked out here. I think Brad Tavares can counter-strike Bruno Silva, just leaves tons of openings. I don't like how tall he stands. 43% striking defense. Brad Tavares, on the other hand, has been shown in his last 2 fights that he has been getting hurt. But a guy like Duplessis and a guy like Pereira, who couldn't finish Bruno Silva, and then on the other hand, you got a guy in Duplessis who couldn't finish Brad Tavares, but he still got the fight doesn't go at minus money. And I'm really thinking that people are going to keep maybe betting these overs. I'm waiting on a fight to end by TKO line. I mean, because Brad Tavares only has 2 wins by submission. I do not think Brad Tavares is submitting Bruno Silva. I don't even think he's going to go for a fucking takedown. He's more comfortable on the feet. He's faced the best strikers on the planet. So I don't see why he would go for takedowns here. Obviously, I see why. If I'm betting Brad Tavares, I would hope he goes for takedowns here. I hope he wouldn't stay on the feet with Bruno Silva for 15 minutes, but I just think he is. That's my opinion on this fight. That's my read on this fight, and that's just what I think. And I really think violence is a really great play here, and I more than likely will be betting violence here. I just think someone is getting knocked the fuck out, and I think it's going to be Bruno Silva knocking out Brad Tavares. Bruno Silva is going to bring a lot of intensity. I'm telling you guys now, expect Bruno Silva to be a wild man, kill or be killed out there in this fight. I just have that feeling. After that last fight against Mearshart, people are giving him crap. That was in August. We are in April now. He is going to come out like a possessed man. He's going to try to knock out Brad Tavares, which could get him knocked out as well. Bruno Silva has never been knocked out in his MMA career. It's going to happen here. One of these guys are going to sleep. I'm telling you guys now. I want to bet it. I'm going to bet it. I'm just waiting for Bet Rivers to give me this fight to end by TKO line. But let's move on to the main event. Let me give you guys my pick for that fight, though. I'm going to pick Bruno Silva by KO in round 2. I'll pick Bruno Silva by KO in round 2. Let's move on to the main event, baby. Hell yeah. We got Sergey Pavlovich versus Curtis Blades. And guys, main event time. Answer for me is violence. I am not betting a money line here. There is no way I am confident in either guy to win me money on this fight. I'm going to bet violence because it is the clear path to victory for any of us cappers in my mind. And it probably is the most obvious bet of the week. I parlayed the under 2.5 at minus 280. And I parlayed it with Nathan Levi going into next week. I will be breaking down that fight next week. That was the first fight that I actually taped for UFC Vegas 72, and I taped it yesterday. I gotta dig into UFC Vegas 72. I'm actually done with this card, guys. So I will be digging into UFC Vegas 72. So expect some early bets. But Pavlovich, I also bet the Pavlovich round 1 TKO. Listen to this, guys. Bet Rivers, thank you, because I don't know what you guys were smoking releasing this line. Plus 410. I don't know, I don't know who released that line. They might have gotten fired, but they clearly have not been watching how Sergey Pavlovich fights. I mean, Sergey Pavlovich is walking forward, throwing in fury. The guy has sensational power. 14 wins and 14 of them coming in the very first round by knockout. It's just something completely built different. And we've seen Curtis Blades knocked out in every single loss in his career. He's been knocked out by heavy hitters. He's been knocked out by Derek Lewis, and he's been knocked out by Francis Ngannou. And you can honestly put Sergey Pavlovich in the line of power with 3 of those guys. And to get a guy like Tai Tuivasa out of there in 50 seconds it's very impressive. Sergey Pavlovich is a very intimidating human being, but he lacks ground game. If Curtis Blades gets him down and gets on top of him, he's going to ground and pound him out of there. And if people are saying Curtis Blades isn't a dominator, yeah, the fuck he is. Because he's been knocked out by Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis, who hasn't been knocked out by 2 of those guys. That doesn't make him dominant in any other way of his wins. It just really shocks me that Like, I think Curtis Blades is one of the most complete heavyweight fighters next to John Jones. Before John Jones came back to heavyweight, Curtis Blades is the most completed fighter in heavyweight. Fights like a 185er and has terrific cardio, probably the best cardio at heavyweight, especially even knowing that John Jones is back up even at heavyweight. Curtis Blades' cardio is sensational. To keep up a heavy 5-round wrestling pace fight and to do it for 5 rounds at 265 is phenomenal. Curtis Blades has pop, guys. Curtis Blades has hands too, and I think a lot. Maybe I'm sleeping on it too. Curtis Blades could hurt Pavlovich, man. Pavlovich is very hittable, and we saw Pavlovich get taken down by Overeem. I mean, come on. Overeem took him down. As soon as he took him down, he ground and pounded him out of there, and Pavlovich just put his hands up. He had no idea what to do. He is now facing the best wrestler in this. The second best wrestler in this division. And he's facing a guy who has transitions in ground and pound and will just advance position. He's going to be able to get any position he wants here. Pavlovich doesn't know how to fight out of these positions. Pavlovich is going to be like Derek Lewis on the ground. He's just going to have to try to just get himself up somehow, and it's just going to be the most untechnical way possible. So, yeah, give me violence here. I think this fight ends in the first round. It wouldn't even shock me if it ended in the very first 2 minutes. I'm really hyped for this main event because it's a lot of answers. If Pavlovich can come in here, man, and knock out Curtis Blades in round 1, they got to give him John Jones. He needs to fight John Jones. I think the winner of this fight, guys, is fighting John Jones. I don't think Stipe is fighting John Jones. I think the winner of this fight should fight John Jones. And wouldn't it just be crazy if Pavlovich versus John Jones? I mean, would you guys give Pavlovich more of a chance because he has power, or would you guys give Curtis Blades a chance because he just has like a matched all around MMA game with John Jones? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below because I'm just very curious if you guys have made it this far in the video. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna pick Pavlovich. I think here to win by first round KO because I betted it plus 410. I really like it. I mean, the plus 410 is ridiculous. That line is not there anymore. It's plus 325 now. It will not reopen back at that line. Gave it out on my Twitter. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I'm going to leave the link down in the description below. So make sure you guys are following me on Twitter at MMA_Propaholic. Yeah, guys, my third full card breakdown video. Feel like I'm getting better and better with these as video by video, and I'm hyped for this card, man. I think there's a lot more violence on this card than last week, but I was not expecting a lot of violence last week, and violence delivered. So let's hope violence delivers for 2 weeks in a row. Leave a like, leave a comment in the section below, and thank you guys for tuning in. Best of luck to everyone on this card, and peace out.